Just think about it. If we look at gang stalking from the perspective of a targeted individual, gang stalking doesn't make any sense. Yet, what if we reframed our viewpoint and considered it from a different perspective? Gang stalking refers to intense, comprehensive surveillance of an individual, also known as a targeted individual. The term gang stalking evokes images of shadowy figures lurking in the corners, relentlessly pursuing a single target. Usually, the targeted person is just an ordinary individual. I mean, why would someone or a group of people go out of their way to target one person without any apparent reason or motive? And why would they do it in such a systematic manner? The surveillance takes many forms, from perceived tracking of movements, using tactics such as gaslighting, street theater, and electronic harassment, to intrusive invasions of personal space and privacy. It's a twisted game of cat and mouse, where the mouse is perpetually aware of the cat's presence, but is uncertain of who the cat is, why the cat has it out for him and not the other mice, and when the cat will pounce. This can go on for a long period. Some have claimed to have been targeted for many years. It just doesn't add up. Living in a constant state of heightened anxiety, feeling as though they're walking on a tightrope, paranoid about everyone around them, all the time. The world becomes an echo chamber of fear and suspicion, where every glance is perceived as hostile, and every whisper carries a sinister undertone. In other words, everything and everyone is suspicious. Again, someone who has not experienced this, and maybe some who have experienced it but decided to change their frame of thinking, may wonder, why would anyone invest and use up so many resources just to observe one ordinary individual for a prolonged period? If the aim were to cause harm, wouldn't it be more efficient to strike fast and get it over with? It would certainly save the perpetrators lots of money. The prolonged nature of gang stalking seems counterintuitive unless the purpose isn't to harm anyone. On the other side, if the target does not know the end game or the objective, why are they afraid, and why think the worst? Perhaps negative is their default state of mind. Consider the movie Players. Players is a romantic comedy where a group of friends create an elaborate scheme to assist each other in finding love, usually a one-night stand. But one of the main characters falls in love with one of the targets. So the group came up with a plan where they meticulously researched the target person, learning his likes and dislikes, habits, and quirks. It was obvious to me that their behavior was similar to what we know as gang stalking. What was also obvious was that they didn't mean him any harm. The whole gang stalking scheme was put together for her friends to assist her in learning his likes and dislikes. She could then pretend to have the same interest in people, places, and other activities. Then he would notice her everywhere doing these similar things, and he would fall in love with her, etc. In some cases, is it not possible that gang stalking could share a similar premise? Could the stalking be less about intimidation and more about understanding the targeted individual? Perhaps it's somebody familiar to the victim, behind the whole operation. The point is, why assume the worst? The reality, however, is that targeted individuals are left in the dark, unsure of the intentions behind their surveillance. The lack of understanding leads to a never-ending cycle of negative thinking, where his or her fear and suspicion draw more of the same negative occurrences. Conclusion: the concept of gang stalking is a complex and multifaceted issue, yet the purpose and motives remain a mystery. Perhaps, if targeted individuals were able to break free from the cycle of negativity and fear, they could find a positive perspective on the situation. But until then, the enigma of gang stalking continues to rule and control the lives of targeted individuals.